Yeah, as you can see, I got my beauty sleep. I woke up more beautiful than ever before.
We're going to play today.
So today's episode, Interpretation, I am really excited for.
Everybody has their own perspective, their own interpretation of the same thing, right? Which sometimes is a bummer, you know, when you like get in a fight with somebody and you like just know something is a certain way, but they just don't see it. How can they interpret it different than you see it?
It's so fun to be able to shoot all the different kind of cameras because it forces you to reapproach your work each time.
This is gonna be a very challenging episode for me.
Instead of just having, you know, your go-to camera with your zoom lens where, all right, this is what I'm always working with, looking for the picture. You know, it really makes you slow down. If you're looking down into a camera, it totally changes the way you approach your subject. Or if you have to be on a tripod or Polaroid or just whatever it is, you always get something different.
So used to just shooting what I know, and it's gonna be actually really awesome because I have never shot with a lot of these cameras and I've always wanted to.
We're going to have several different cameras, vintage ones and modern ones, all film.
Technology has constantly been evolving, and with that, a lot of really fun formats have been created. So today, what's going to be so fun is instead of just choosing one and going out, we're going to have them all together in one location. So we'll be able to shoot the same subject from a variety of different viewpoints and see how that influences what we get.
And seeing all the different kinds of photographs we can take of the same dang subject.
I get to play with some cameras that I've always dreamed about, you know, shooting with. I don't know anything about how to use them, so I'm going to be the ditzy blonde today.
I brought to show one of my favorites, just to show the kind of crazy stuff that exists. This is a lens from a World War II bomber that flew reconnaissance over Nazi Germany. The lens is marked right here in 1942. And then a friend of mine mounted this on a press camera from the 1930s. So what we've got is a huge aerial reconnaissance lens mounted on a 4x5 film camera body that you look down into and focus like this. So I'm really excited to play with one of my favorite cameras today.
Let's do some interpretive dance.
So Ryan, can you explain to us what's going on in there?
You can hear this?
Yeah, we got the mic right up to the door.
Okay, so we got some 4x5 film last minute, which was awesome. But we didn't know it was going to come today, and we don't have a changing bag to load the film into. And since it's sheet film, you have to load it in the complete darkness. So I took all the crap out of the closet, and I recruited some fantastic helpers to hold blankets up against it while I load the sheet film into the holder. And as a matter of fact, right now I am done. If I can make my Houdini escape, I can show you what I've been doing. So I was taking the film from this foil pouch and loading it into the 4x5 sheet holder, which is done. All right, the end. Before us, we have a great bounty of film cameras. It's one of our favorite things about shooting film. There's so many different kinds, so many different formats, so many different films, and we're gonna have an awesome time playing with this today.
It's like a candy shop.
It is like candy.
How you feeling?
I feel scared.
Tia, nervous.
I know. The thing I love about film is that it's like you have not just lenses to choose from, right? Like you would in a digital realm. You have so many different formats from large format, medium format, 35 millimeter, and then all kinds of crazy stuff, the 4x5, panoramic. You have all these different formats. Because we have so much variety to choose from, you can create so many different kinds of pictures. That's what I'm excited about. And I'm nervous because most of these cameras I've never ever shot in my life, and I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah, ditto.
So I'm excited for our special guest to show us some tips.
Who basically, I mean, he's got to be my right-hand guy, because I've always fantasized about shooting some of these cameras. You know, you see them in the thrift shops, and I pick them up, and I always want to shoot them, but now I'm scared because I don't know what to do. So Brent, you're my guy.
Okay.
You're my guy,
here.
Brent.
I'm right here for you.
Brent. Okay, come in, Brent.
We're coming this way.
okay.
Remember, you're mine.
So yeah, I'm actually very impressed with the stuff that isn't mine. But yeah, I've been collecting cameras for probably 6 years or so, and it's an easy thing to get into because digital has influenced film so much. All of this stuff is relatively inexpensive.
Yeah.
So
That is a good thing to point out. You can get all this for pennies on the dollar of what it used to be.
I mean, one of my biggest purchases was a Hasselblad, and I've always wanted one. But, you know, probably 7-8 years ago, it was thousands of dollars, and I paid way less than $1,000.
How much did you pay?
Everything all in, I'm probably $800 into it.
Wow.
So
And it's gorgeous.
the Mamiya 645 sitting right next to it, very similar. That cost me $90.
Wowzer.
The F4, which is probably one of the best Nikons ever made. You know, a lot of professional shooters did this. This cost me $90.
Wow.
Love it.
And it runs like a watch, so what can I say?
So our job is to take a camera, play with all the different lenses available for that camera, and shoot one object how many different ways, okay, to make it not boring.
Yep.
So we've chosen, there's 2 trees here in the fields, and the only rule to this challenge is one of those 2 trees have to be in every single picture we take, okay?
Yep.
That's the only rule.
We get a 360
And we get a
degree
360
radius.
degree radius to shoot the trees.
So the first thing we're going to do is divide the cameras into their formats. As far as I can tell, not that this is all there is, there's actually a lot more, but what we have can basically be broken down into large format, medium format, different variations on that, and 35 millimeter. So I figure if I just start here, we got the one 4x5 camera, and now if we can start like the medium format cameras, we got our Mamiya 6.7, the Mamiya RZ6.7 Pro 2, that's medium format. We have 2 Contact 645s, that's what Tanya and I primarily shoot with. They're also medium format. We've got oh, beautiful, I didn't even see that was sitting there. We've got a Rolleiflex, I used to own one of these. These are exceptionally beautiful and fun to shoot with. A Yashica, which is the exact same kind of 6.6 twin lens reflex where you're looking down into it. It's the same kind of camera as the Rolleiflex, just a different brand. We have the Pentax 6.7. Which with a great 2.4 lens on it, you can get really beautiful shallow depth of field on this.
Those go with that.
Yep, the Mamiya 645. This is also a 645 format camera. On this one, you look down into it like so. It's the same format as the Contacts. You just operate it a little bit differently. And then we have another beautiful one that Tanya is not giving up yet,
Wait,
which
I
is
just want to pet it for a second.
which is the Hasselblad. It's also a 6.6 negative, much like the Yashica and the Rolleiflex. These are our 35 millimeter cameras. Everything from a Leica MP, which is what I shoot most of my 35 millimeter on, to a couple of different Nikons. And then a lot of the toy cameras. We got a little toy Diana that takes 35 millimeter. This is the Contact 645. It's a medium format film camera. It takes either 120 or 220 film. I've got 3 different lenses with it. The 80, the 140, and the 45. I'm going to take my Contacts with 400H in it and this 45 millimeter lens, and I'm going to head off and shoot.
This is my big daddy, Pentax 6.7. This is a super Takamar. This is a 2.4 lens. This has got 100 acros in it. I'm gonna go shoot it. This is the only camera I brought.
I brought the Mamiya RZ67 with a variety of lenses, and this is actually a medium format, 6.7. So with each roll of film of 120, I'm going to get about 10 shots. Today we're going to shoot Fuji 400 Pro H in this guy.
I want to give a special thank you to Brent again for bringing all those cool cameras.
What was interesting to me is at the beginning, when we first had to select a camera, I automatically picked one of my cameras that I've shot a million times.
I got to shoot my big daddy today, which is the Pentax. I love that because it's heavy and you push it down and it like clunk.
I felt safe there and I felt comfortable there, and I knew my lenses and I knew my body so well that I knew the result it was going to give me.
And so I'm really excited to see what happened today with that film.
Then when I went back and I picked up the cameras that I haven't shot before, I got butterflies. I got so nervous. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm looking at all the dials and I'm thinking, what do all these things do?
While I own a lot of different formats of film cameras, I rarely shoot with more than 2 at any given time, so it was so fun to have like 20 different cameras out there. I've got this guy, I've talked a little bit about him before. It's a 4x5 camera. This one is one that you look down into, shoot like this, kind of like a much bigger version of one of the Rolleiflexes. This takes 4x5 sheet film or 4x5 instant film. I've got it loaded with some Velvia 100 for today.
I have my Nikon F100 and a ton of lenses for this, and we're going to be shooting in this camera, also Pro 400H.
We used a lot of different films, and as you can see, we got a lot of different results.
And it makes me really want to go out and pick up a few more cameras. Sometimes I think I get stuck in like just safety zone, you know, what I know and what I do well.
As excited as I was really sick to my stomach because I have a really weak place in me about technical stuff, you know, so you start talking about f-stops and shutter speeds and all that, even though I get it, but there's something about me that doesn't get it. There's a resistance, like I cannot even describe. I'm so resistant to absorbing.
Maybe even I'll rent some stuff because I think that it's just exciting and it makes photography fun.
Like I shot 3 or 4 cameras today. I don't know if I absorbed anything, to be honest with you. And I had to constantly have a helper. So it makes me feel like a lame-o.
I think we also got a lot of great behind-the-scenes pictures. The only requirement we had was to see the tree in the photos, but everyone kind of went a different direction with it, so that was really cool. This is my Leica MP, one of my very favorite cameras. It's a 35mm film camera. The only lens I really use on it is a 50mm prime, so we've got that. This is a Yashica T5. It's a point and shoot, fully automatic camera. The camera reads the ASA or the ISO and chooses your shutter speed and aperture for you. So that's the only thing you can do is hit the button. This time, I think I'm going to take this long lens because, as Brent was telling me, this Nikon N75 is one of the last ones they made before digital kind of really took over. So it works with these vibration reduction lenses, all of that. So I'm going to head out and shoot on a 200mm lens, get a real long lens shot. So here I go. Whoa, stop. It was also really good to see Tia out there shooting. Tanya and Tia are an amazing team, and everything they produce together. But it was fun to see Tia get a lot more opportunity to spend some time behind the camera and create some images of her own.
Look at how you can just, pick one subject and get all of these different results and interpret that subject so differently with just picking up a different little box, putting on a different little lens.
Instead of like thinking about composition so much and trying to make an amazing picture, all of a sudden my brain went just to like, I gotta figure this camera out. And I had to let some of that other stuff like composition and all that stuff go so that I could just figure out the camera and the focusing and the settings. I think it is kind of important to know your equipment and shoot with it enough before you bring it into your professional work, because it does throw your mindset off a little bit. It freaked me out a little bit, and I started paying less attention to my actual subject, and I was just paying more attention to my equipment. It opened my eyes to like, oh wow, you really got to know your equipment and what you can expect from it before you actually bring it into like a real job situation maybe.
I used to own a Hasselblad and a Rolleiflex, and it was really fun to get to shoot with them again.
Brent brought some of the cameras that I've always wanted to hold in my little paws, mainly the Hasselblad. I mean, I've held them, but I've never actually shot one. It was so cool though, because you have to hold it down at your waist and you look down through the viewfinder and everything's backwards.
Brent was so cool. I mean, to have all those old cameras and even some new cameras and to have that collection, that was inspiring to see. And, unlike him, he knew how to operate all of them, which was really awesome. It just felt so good in my hands. It looked so beautiful looking through it, and I just wanted to keep shooting it. I didn't want to put it back down, and I think I actually took Ryan's exposures and shot them as well because I didn't want to put it down. It just seemed so creamy and beautiful. When I picked up the point and shoot, and I knew that I didn't have to worry about anything but pressing the button. Then all of a sudden, I was paying more attention to my composition and I was paying more attention to the subject or whatever I was shooting. All of a sudden, I was back there again. So I think it is important, just you have to be familiar with your equipment and what you're doing. Otherwise, your focus is not quite there.
Photos capture me. Swirl around them and they change in shape and in size, and they cut through the delicate film of my eyes, begging me please remember what you were.
One of the things I feel like keeps me sticking with film is that if I want to achieve a certain look, like I get pictures in my head and it's like, okay, here's the picture I see in my head. So now I know I'm gonna grab this camera, I'm gonna grab that lens, I'm gonna grab that film, and I'm gonna make it all happen in camera. It's not like I'm gonna take a picture and then what am I gonna do to it later in Photoshop?
I think the challenge for this was when you don't know a camera very well or the settings, it's like composition sort of goes out the window and you're like, I gotta create something amazing, but then you don't have time, so it's like stressful. Like,
And it was freezing cold, so we shot a little faster and a little more nervousy than maybe we would have liked, but I think we got a lot of fun pictures.
I
and
think there's masterpieces.
I'm excited to see them.
Masterpieces. This
All right.
guy's quirky, you guys. Did you shoot this guy?
I
no.
didn't get a chance
He's
to.
quirky. You focus through here, but you compose through here.
Whoa, that
It's
would throw
wacky.
me completely off.
Very cool.
All right,
Yeah.
so I think that's a wrap, but before we go, we've got one more little thing.
Put it in here.
Put
Put it in here.
Oh, yeah.
It's all about interpretation, right? Interpretive dance! Come on. We'll get up here.
Okay, ready? Ready? Come on. Okay.
Here, don't crush your hat.
Do you know how many times I've been swaying to the music? Come on, yeah.
Just me and my guy.
That's all I'm doing. It's over. I'm home.
All film was provided by FujiFilm. And a special thanks to Richard Photolab for processing all images in this episode. Like the music? Special thanks to Triple Scoop Music. Frame Network giveaways are brought to you by B&H. Head to giveaways.framenetwork.com for your chance to win. Find out more about the equipment used in this episode on framenetwork.com.